In this episode, we're going to be talking about the brand new reason no one will ever see me again. It's Soulstone Survivors. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Welcome to Indie Game Arcade, the podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. My name is Chris.
I'm Joseph.
Stop bringing these games to my attention, please.
Okay, listen. This was one I just picked up on a whim because I was like, it looks kind of cool. And then the moment I started playing it and I saw how fleshed out it was, I was like, man, Chris is going to be all over this. And the way that you were Rogue Genesia for a while, where you're like, I have to unlock everything. I have to get every achievement. Like this one is like that, but times 1,000. I don't know how many achievements there are for it, but there are a ton.
Dude, there's so many. There's so many that like, I kind of want to cry a little bit.
Oh, okay. There's 415 achievements.
Yeah. I'm like, I couldn't finish the Rogue Genesia ones because there's so many. Joseph, there's so many games. You got to stop doing this to me.
Too many games.
Even like you messaged me and you're like, there's this game. I don't know if I should tell you about it.
I was like, you probably shouldn't play it.
Yeah.
But here's why. And here's why you won't be able to stop.
You told me why I shouldn't play it. And then I was just like, okay, just tell me the name of it. Then you did. And here we are. So I've been playing so much of this that it was hard for me to like, I was still able to put several hours into Date Everything for last episode. I think I put way more hours into this. It's not too bad. You've got more hours in it than me so far. I think I've got a little over 4 hours
in it.
Okay. So I haven't lost my ever-loving mind just yet, but I totally could because this game is so fun. I better say the name. Guys, let's talk about this.
Game start!
This game, Soulstone Survivors, it was released June 17th, 2025, developed by Game Smithing Limited, also published by Game Smithing Limited in association with Digital Banditos. Retails for $14.99, so a pretty cheap price point for a game this fleshed out. And when we say it's fleshed out, man, just wait, because there's so much. This is a bullet heaven with RPG and roguelike elements where you play as a void hunter, slay hordes of enemies, collect soul stones, unlock skills, weapons, face bosses, and defeat the Void King. I've been talking a lot, and I also just... So in my vocal booth here, I am typically standing, but I do have like a little stool here in case I do want to sit, and I usually will put like I'll do like the Captain Morgan where I put one knee up on it, which is what I'm doing. And I just did that, and like my jeans just ripped right, like the crotch and the butthole just ripped straight open in these jeans.
Wow.
Like in a way that I feel like we should be talking about Date Everything again, but I don't know, it's hot in here and now I feel breezy, which is pretty good. So I'm going to let you start talking about the gameplay and mechanics.
Okay. So this one, like the name suggests, is a survivor bullet heaven type game. Vampire Survivors inspired, obviously, but updated in a way that I think every single survivor game in the future should be, because this one feels so much smoother than Vampire Survivors. I'm not going to compare it to Vampire Survivors all the time because that's unfair. That was the start of this whole thing, and they're doing great. Nothing against them. So I'm just going to say, I love the gameplay of this one because it has the automatic shooting, yes, but you're able to aim it, which is super helpful and necessary for a lot of these skills that you have. There are so many passive and active abilities across all the characters that you have. 22 different Void Hunters you can select, all with 4 different weapon types you can use. There are 350 active and passive abilities across the characters. There are so many resources. Yeah, 100 plus different weapons because of the ones you can alter at the blacksmith. Those are all unlocked through achieving certain levels with each different character. All the characters are locked behind different sort of things that you have to do to unlock them. The first few will unlock very easily, but then it gets a little bit more granular as you try to get deeper and deeper into the character unlocks. There are 5 bosses at least per run that are kind of like filling up the screen. These are like oversized big bosses, and you'll know when they're going to spawn. It'll tell you. And then after I'm not going to go into all of it just yet. Those are like the basics of it. I will go deeper into it because I have played a ton of this game. Well, 6 hours of this game, which feels like a ton because of like how meaty it was. But yeah, this is one that like, if you had just told me play this game only this entire week, I could have easily done that and not thought twice about it.
Yeah, me too. Oh man.
Okay, so what is it about this game that is like most appealing to you, do you think?
One, you feel so powerful, and you feel powerful pretty quickly, which I love that. That was, I think, the most noticeable thing was just like, instead of going out like with some of the other games, and it's just like the first few like levels you get, you are like feeling desperate and like, God, please don't let me die. I really want to unlock something. Here it's like you can stand on your own toes pretty quickly. And then like within, a few levels, like you can dominate pretty well. And it's like you're really more excited about like all the other stuff going on. And you're not as concerned about death, I think, than you are in some of the other games. And it's more like, oh my God, like how far can I take this? Or what kind of synergies can I get between my things? Like, I feel like I've been able to enjoy that aspect of it more than I have in other games. And I think too, that there's a little bit more clear distinction between how the weapons interact with each other than there have been in others. I think that's 100%. Like abundantly clear.
And there was never a time where I lost my character on the screen. Like even with the hordes of enemies that are on there, you've always got at least your active buffs going on that are a pretty clear indicator of where you are in relation to everything. In Vampire Survivors or any other game of its ilk, like there are times where it's like I just feel kind of like overwhelmed visually, where I'm like, I don't even know where I am anymore versus all these enemies who are just stacked up on top of each other. This seems like there's not really a lot of overlap between these character models because it is like a 3D. These are 3D rendered like character models. Yeah. Even when there were, and that's not to say there aren't still a ton on the screen. Even when there are a ton on the screen, though, I never really experienced any hiccups like I do in Rogue Genesia that had like that literal mode that's like 3 FPS or something that like my frame rate got so low because there was just too much on the screen. That hasn't happened in this game yet. And I pushed it pretty far. Once you beat a level, it gives you the option to either go back to the base, go into Overlord mode, which is just like you have to kill elite enemies to start unlocking bosses, and or go into Endless mode, which I guess is just literally that. So I did a couple of the Endless mode ones, but then I jumped into Overlord, and I think I got to Overlord 6. And then that's when I got killed. Like that's where it was like, okay, now I'm starting to see this difficulty ramp up as I'm going through this. And here's the wall that I've hit. But that's also because like this was my first time using this character. So they weren't properly upgraded yet or anything or leveled up to the point where they could handle that. So that's where it's like more incentive to level up each of these different classes and bring the ones into these harder roles that you think could actually handle that with either the new weapon that they have or what have you, or any of the mini skill trees you can upgrade or the talents you can get or the like runes you can put in there on your character. There's so much weird customization of this that it like is so over the top, the amount you can do. But even with all that, none of it feels like so overwhelming that it's like, I don't understand what's happening. Some games do. In this one, it's pretty straightforward.
If there are any difficulties with like telegraphing stuff that's happening, It's only that like the enemies are always telegraphing what they're about to do.
With the red like circles or lines.
Yeah,
on
red
the ground.
circles, red lines to show where they're either going to strike or dash or do AoE or something like that. And sometimes as you like, when there's a lot going on, or if you have a lot of spells all going crazy at the same time, sometimes that kind of overlaps a bit of like the telegraphing stuff. But usually by that point, you are so powerful that the only ones you really are having to look out for are like the elites and the bosses. And everything else is kind of like, I don't know, cannon fodder at that point.
Yeah, a lot of that is just like, as long as you have enough speed to outmaneuver a lot of these things, you're usually okay.
Yeah.
But, and or defense, depending on which direction you go. The only time that I will say, like, when that starts to really, really show what you're talking about right now with the overlap stuff is once you start putting the, you know, how like each of the levels has those like difficulty modifiers you can start adding to them to go to the next like section of that or whatever, unlock like new parts of it. Like once you get to level like 3 or 4, like difficulty level 3 or 4 of that and enable all the challenges on it, then you have like every one of the boss spawns is spawning like 3 bosses at the same time.
Oh, man.
And it gets like really, and they're also chunkier and doing more damage. So it's like those things all overlapping is a huge problem because it's like, okay, this guy's shooting a line, this guy's shooting a big circle, this guy's shooting a bigger line. How can I get in like the little pocket of safety right here while they're all firing at the same time? That's when it's like, okay, this is exhilarating, but I can still handle it if I'm strong enough or smart enough to avoid those things, which I find really like fun about it is that like, even with those overwhelming odds, it's still possible to survive. And that's where it's like, it doesn't feel as like, I don't know, like automatic or like, doesn't feel like an idle game where you're just like standing in one spot and like just firing like crazy. You have to be moving around. You have to be mobile.
That's a huge difference with some of the other games like this, because Vampire Survivors especially, like if you have certain combos done like the books or the garlic, some of those things like upgrade and stuff, there's definitely times you can just chill and everything comes to you and everything just dies and you don't have to move an inch. You cannot stop moving in this. If you stop for a second, you're taking damage. Like,
and you can't take a lot of damage, especially not from those bosses.
No, and which makes it really interesting too. Is like on some of the maps, like you'll see those like chests and stuff, and you have to be close to those chests for like so long to get those chests to open. But it's like you can't stop because then you'll get like melted if you're in like one place for like a couple seconds. So it's like you have to almost kind of like keep going around in waves to like get those chests open and stuff, which is kind of fun.
Exactly.
The way that I in my head was trying to like quantify like how do I explain this game to somebody? When somebody tells me how to understand something new, I love it when people say it's like this game mixed with this game. So for those of you familiar, think of Vampire Survivors as we've kind of talked about as far as like gameplay setup mixed with like Torchlight as far as the look and the idea also because you've got like, you know, each character is sort of a different class. They all have completely different like abilities, skill trees, things like that. And then Last Epic, which is a similar game to like Torchlight and the Diablo series and things. Last Epic specifically has a gigantic amount of customization through like the skill trees and the mastery trees and runes and all that kind of stuff. And like you kind of get that here too, because like there is a pretty significant skill tree that applies to like every character. But then like once you unlock all that stuff, then you unlock this huge, bigger thing that is like for individual characters. And then you can like upgrade like the specific individuals as well. And then plus like you were talking about with like the weapon stuff with the blacksmith, then you're also customizing them from that angle individually with like their weapons and things. So like there's so much to change and tweak about every single character that it is insane how much you can do. And I love that.
Yeah, this is one that caught me completely by surprise. Like I know it had been out in early access for a couple of years or a few years maybe, but like
since like 2022, I think.
Okay,
it's been a long
but I had
time.
never even heard of it. So this was such a nice surprise for me to get into the 1.0 release and be completely like floored by how much fun I was having with this. Definitely the most fun that I've had with a Bullet Heaven. This might be my favorite Bullet Heaven ever so far, actually.
Yeah, dude, I think I'm there with you because especially like we got to talk about the music, man. We got to talk about that club music that it is playing
constantly. Yeah,
I am vibing hard with that stuff, especially because I don't know about you, but like for the most part, I'm usually walking backwards and then aiming my thing forward. So I'm like, especially because like there's been quite a few characters that have something like there's the one that you can make the fire trail behind you and stuff. So it's like, obviously, I want to concentrate on that stuff. So you're kind of moving backwards, but like the movement of this game is like the character and stuff is so fluid and so good. As the characters are coming at you, you can just freaking like, I don't know, you're moving like water, man. You're like flowing in between all these guys while you're getting this like club music going, and it, oh my God, it is so good.
And
it just
like
hits
blasting on a beat. And then like once you really start stacking your upgrades, where it's like, okay, my area effect of this circular spell I have is huge. So I'm just like a walking, like a ball of death. Like it is just so satisfying in all the best ways. And all the characters are voice acted, like independently voice acted. And they all have like, I don't know if they have a ton of lines, but they have enough to where it's like, wow, you did not have to do any of this, but here it is.
There's way more than I expected there to be. I didn't know that there was going to be voice acting. I didn't expect it, but
it doesn't seem like it doesn't need it, but it's here and it's nice. It's cool, but it's just like another one of those examples of like a really fine polish on top of something that's already a really quality game. It's like, I don't know, a cherry on top of like a delicious cake.
Oh, and can we say like the introduction, like the thing that leads you into the game is the tutorial and stuff is so epic. And you go in feeling like a monster. Like you were so powerful.
You so well. You're like, oh wow, is this how it's all going to be? And then you get completely crushed and you're like, oh, okay, never mind. I was put in my place.
Man, for a minute too, I thought I had a fighting chance because I definitely did some damage to that. What was her name? The sorceress woman. But I didn't realize at the time, and maybe it was just I missed something. I didn't realize I had a dash at that point. And I was putting some damage down on her and trying to outmaneuver all of her attacks and everything. But it was kind of like one of those cases of you had to be in a very, very tiny spot to not get just completely annihilated. And I couldn't get to it in time without that dash. And I didn't realize I had that dash. So I was like, oh man, part of me wants to start it over and just see if it's possible.
Here's what I will say. And I'm not saying this for sure, but what I experienced with that fight was like, I felt really confident about it. Like, I was getting hit some, but I was taking her out pretty quickly. Yeah. And then it got to a point where it's like, okay, this is kind of a make or break because I'm about to die, but she's also about to die. So if I just like dodge around this, I'll be okay. And so I thought that I was fine where I was, and I was fine. And I was like attacking her and I was like, okay, this is it. Like I'm going to be able to finish her off. But then to me, it looked like it stopped damaging her. Like there was a cutoff to where it's like, you cannot beat her. I don't know if that's true or if like I just happened to die like right as this was happening. But I will say like it seems like it cuts you off. It lets you think you're doing okay, but then there is a cutoff that is like a hard stop. I don't know that for sure though, so I'm not gonna swear to that. But that's what I felt like I experienced.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because it would be really weird if all of a sudden you just defeated this person and they're like, oh well,
it's like game over, you win.
Well, I guess you won in the tutorial. So. Do you have a favorite class so far? A favorite Void Hunter?
So far, I think my favorite that I've unlocked anyway has been the Spellblade, which is like the fourth one.
Yeah, dude. I also love the Spellblade. That dude's sick.
The most recent one I unlocked was the what is this dude called? Like dang, I don't know what those are called. Like the dudes with the spear and the Centurion guy. On the third row. Yeah, like I had just unlocked him and played some with him. It was pretty fun, but like I just had done my like epic runs of like all those overlords with the Spellblade, and so he's just so high a level now. It's hard for me to really go to anybody else because this guy is like my dude. But once I unlock like some of the lower stuff, like the Death Knight or something cool like that, I'm definitely gonna switch over to him. But right now, Spellblade's my go-to.
Yeah, I also like I've tried some of the other ones and I really still like the Barbarian a lot, which is the one that you start with. I think because I really like that Whirlwind. I think that's my favorite starting attack that you get. I mean, like obviously, whatever like starter attack that you have, you can swap that out with other stuff once you fill up your bar. But it's a really powerful one and I really like it. But I do love the Spellblade. I love the idea of the Houndmaster, but like I'm not great with the Houndmaster, at least not yet. But I like the idea of it.
I beat a run with the Houndmaster. I didn't go into Overlord mode or anything, but just to try him out. But, and it was fine, but I just ended up liking the Spellblade more.
Sure. And I had just unlocked the Chaos Walker and the Legionnaire, but I haven't gotten to try them yet.
Oh, Legionnaire, that's what it was, not Centurion. Yeah.
Okay, so the one that you
Chaos
really
Walker,
like. Okay.
Chaos Walker is the one above it, right? The red guy?
Yeah, it's the one with the horns.
Yeah. I like the Chaos Walker too, actually. I did a cool like poison build with his like second weapon that I was really liking, because literally like anything that would walk near me would just almost die as I walked away from them because of the poison that they were taking, the poison damage.
That was kind of like with the Barbarian. Like I did the like the lightning build with him. And it was also like, I can't remember if there was something where if you like increased it, it would like increase the potency of like the lightning. And I feel like it was your agility, like your swiftness and stuff. So I was like super, super fast. Like if I remember right, the last run I did, I was moving like 200% speed. So I was just zipping around and lightning was everywhere. And it was so much fun. But that's awesome. It was a blast. It's if you guys can't tell, we like this game quite a bit. So the thing too is I like every game mode so far. Like I like doing the main like loop of things. I like doing the void fuels and stuff. I really like doing endless mode. That's kind of fun. I like doing the gauntlet kind of thing, which I don't remember what the name of that is, but where you just get stuck in the little room and basically just kind of wait for all the big guys, and then eventually it's just like
the Unholy Cathedral.
Yeah. I love that mode. That mode's super fun. So
that one's really cool. Yeah, and there's like 3 different like versions of that, and then there's a Titan Hunt after that. Titan Hunt is kind of like I haven't done that. How you would do, you unlock it after you beat the first Unholy Cathedral, I think. Okay. But what happens there is that's kind of how you would map farm if you needed to, like get your materials that you need to like upgrade certain weapons. But it's also pretty challenging, and it's like you're choosing which main boss you want to go after in that mode. So it's literally you're hunting that Titan. But like it was pretty tough. Like I did not beat the first run I tried to do of it. So I was like, okay, well, cool. This is where my skill cap is right now. So I need to think about that before I try to go back to Titan Hunt.
It is kind of funny too that you get used to like some of the Titans and you're just like, when they spawn in, you don't know which one's going to be until they show up. And sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I'm so glad it's this one. I'm going to destroy this one. Like the, what's the prophet woman one? Like, oh, dude, I just destroy her every time she comes in. I'm like, you've got no chance.
The one I hate the most is the ones that do like the beam that goes around, or the flame that like follows you around. Because it's so hard to escape that if you don't have like a really fast character.
He is the one that I struggle with the most by far. I think he's probably the hardest one. I would say I'm sure everyone probably feels the same way. just because his is so far reaching that even if you sprint once, it's still not far enough to get away from it. So you either have to have padded it and you have like more sprints, or you just really got to book it. You got to be fast.
Yeah.
Got to go fast.
But yeah,
so,
we like this game. Great game.
It's a good game.
Definitely recommend it. If you like Bullet Heavens and you haven't tried this one, please do.
It's all we're going to talk about the rest of this podcast for the rest of the year. So
yeah.
get used to it.
This is now a Soulstone Survivors podcast.
Power up!
If you're liking this episode so far, do us a favor, throw us a like, a follow, share the episode or the podcast with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support indie game devs. We also have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth where you can catch us playing more indie games or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for even more indie game recommendations. Because we believe there's an indie game out there for everyone.
Combo!
Let's talk about some other indie games we've been playing. I've only got one to talk about this episode, which is Outrider Mako. This was developed by Azamoto Games, published by Playism, and the full game releases tomorrow as of recording this, June 23rd, 2025. This is a top-down 2D action adventure where you are like a courier for the gods, and it's like very like Eastern themed, like very Japanese mixes of different styles of mythology. So you are like in this mythical realm delivering packages and like having to fight foes and stuff like that to be able to do that, and also collect the mats and stuff, because it's usually like whatever god wants this stuff, and you have to go out and find all of these things. And then literally you have to wrap it up in a nice package once you find all the mats and all of the stuff that god wanted. And then you go back to your little like home base and mail it out. So it is either if you are playing on keyboard, it is, keyboard and mouse, or it's twin stick if you're doing game controller. The combat is so different than like any other game I've played like this. And I really I want to preface, I don't think this combat is bad. It's just so different that I really struggled getting into the game because of it. So it's very much of like you almost kind of like jump on top of enemies, like from enemy to enemy a lot. So you're doing a lot of like, it's like an automatic lock on thing too. So like you kind of like, let's say you jump on one enemy's head and then you can zip to the other enemy and zip to the other enemy. And you have to do a lot of stuff like that. And to damage them, you can jump off of them and do some kicks and stuff, but they're not nearly as powerful as dropping this like red like nectar stuff that you have to collect and everything. But you land on their head, drop the nectar on them, then attack them, and that will do like the majority of your damage. So it's like the amount of steps like involved in that type of combat. And I think just because of the mechanics being so different, I really struggled with this one, even though I absolutely love the world that they've crafted with this, and the story is super interesting. And there's a lot of moments that brought me quite a bit of joy, especially when you're inside of the like the spirit house where you are receiving your jobs, and you can like heal up and stuff. And there's like these little spirit guys with these little lanterns that always follow you around wherever you go. They're like running after you and like holding the lanterns over your head to make sure you can see everything, which is just funny and cute. But yeah, the gameplay style was just so different for me, and I just felt like I couldn't get a handle on it to where it felt natural to me. So I felt like I struggled a lot. I died a lot. So, but it's interesting. It's a game that I think that you would find more interest in it because of that, because it presents more of a challenge. But I don't know if it would be difficult enough for you, being someone who loves difficult games, that it would hold your attention enough. But that the novelty of the the action and everything being completely different, might appeal to you for a limited time.
Just from seeing some of the like trailers of it and the combat, I see what you're talking about, like with the bouncing around different things. And that's really interesting because it almost reminds me of, and I know this probably isn't going to be a one-to-one, but like the rhythmatic combat of like an Arkham game almost, where it's like you're bouncing from enemy to enemy to try to keep your combo going. But in this case, you're just doing it to, like you said, put these particular things on certain enemies' heads to weaken them or whatever. But I think what would help it stick for me is if that is a satisfying enough loop that it feels like, okay, this is fun to do. This isn't just like a chore that I feel like I have to do to all these enemies. It feels like something where I'm doing this thing and it is like a satisfying feeling combat loop. The gameplay like looks good. I love the concept of it. Like, will it hold my attention? I can't say, but the combat's something I could probably bite into, but I just don't know how, like, I don't know, satisfying it's going to be without trying it out.
And it feels too like it really gives the vibe of a mix of Legend of Zelda meets like Studio Ghibli and specifically Spirited Away. Spirited Away very, very much. But for that reason, I love the world of this game. But yeah, I just like, it didn't click for me as far as that combat and stuff goes. So like, I wouldn't be able to tell you whether, you know, it would be fluid enough to feel satisfying just because I couldn't get a handle on it enough that it felt good for me, because I just could not get a flow down. But
okay,
but like the reactions so far from what I've seen on the demos and things like that have not been bad. So obviously some people, like, you know, it's clicking for plenty of folks, and I think it will be you know, for the folks that it does click for, I think it's probably going to be a really great game. So I'm excited to see, you know, once the full release comes out tomorrow, what people have to say about it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on this one for sure. Do you know if there were like difficulty settings to it, or is it just like one difficulty all the way through?
Don't believe there is difficulty settings. I think it's just out the box, I believe.
I like it. Okay. No, I might actually try this one. Is there still a demo up? I'd like to try it out before I commit.
No, the demo's not available anymore.
Bummer. All right. Well, I don't know what the release price is going to be, but I'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah. So the next game is one that you have on your list. I got to play it too, though, and I'm very excited for us to talk about this. So why don't you go ahead and cue us up?
This will be kind of a long story short deal, because otherwise we could literally do a whole episode on it with as much of this game I've played. The game that I want to talk about is Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. This is obviously a follow-up to the game Lost in Random, which I've never played, honestly. So you don't need to, because it's more of a spiritual sequel than it is like an actual like follow-up, because it's a different gameplay style entirely, but it's still the same world, developer, but still the same world. So shared universe and a similar art style, if not the same art style.
I love the art style of this, though. Just real quick, it's gorgeous. This is it's
kind of like Tim Burton-y in a way.
Yeah, love that.
So good. This came out on June 17th. The developer for this one was Stormteller Games. Right now selling for $29.99. I think it's on sale at the moment, but I don't remember for how much. But this is a roguelite in this case, where you are playing as one of the queens, or the queen of random, who was kind of taken into this black dice. And again, I don't know the story of the original one, so I don't know how much that ties into that. But at least the opening of this is you're kind of fighting an ancient evil as the queen, trying to get you and all of these other individuals trapped inside of this black die out of it by defeating this ancient evil and his minions. So what was going to be just like let me step in and try a few rounds of this thing ended up being okay, now I need to see this all the way through thing, because it was unlike what I talked about last episode with the Wizards of Legend 2. Like, the combat in this one is so satisfying. There is a lot of variety to it with all the different kind of it's sort of a grid based like upgrade system that you're using that's done in a really interesting way, where it also has like a match 3 element to it of
that's cool
ways you can like add bonuses to your upgrades. Without going into all of that, I'll say like the main 3 things you are going to be focusing on are either your melee combat, your card combat, which is like your one special ability card that you have. You can only equip one of these cards per run, but you can change them out at certain intervals depending on if you run into another one. And your dice combat, which is literally you throwing your dice. What was the dice's name?
His name's Fortune.
Fortune, yeah. So your dice named Fortune, you throw your dice out. At first, it's just like a move where you're literally just throwing your dice out at like the nearest enemy or whatever. You can aim it if you want to. And it just like plops onto the ground, does a little bit of damage. But there are different things you can add to it that it's like, okay, well now when I throw down Fortune, it will light any enemies that it hits on fire, or it will like cause my next card to be an automatic crit or something like that. There's ways that they chain together, or there's some that only purely affect the one type of combat. Like I could go, and I did do like a pure dice run at one point where it's like Fortune was so strong that I just had to literally throw him up against a wall repeatedly and catch him, and it would just blast enemies around with this like different spell. I didn't have to throw him at the enemy anymore. He just did this automatic tracking missile. So as I would fight bosses, I would just I would run away, throw him up against the wall, and just watch them melt from the blast that Fortune was shooting.
That's awesome.
And what I mean to say with all that is that there's just so much variety to this. I mean, of course, it's a roguelike, and most of them are going to have variety like that. But in this one, like those 3 different styles of combat all feel like very unique in a way where it's like if you get yourself a good build of that, like on your whatever run you're doing, it's going to feel like a very unique run, even though you are playing as the same character. So that is where I just found a very satisfying gameplay loop in this. And I was able to go all the way through it. The one thing that I ran into though was a me problem, not a game problem, where it's like so last night I beat the final boss, and it was going to give me the like ending of it, but I was like, I'm going to wait to see that, because it was like super late last night. So I was like, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to just watch the ending in the morning. And so I get on today to do that, and it was like your Steam cloud save is not synced. So if you try to start the game again, it might wipe your save. And I was like, oh crap. So I haven't looked at it again to see if it has updated yet, but if it hasn't, then it might wipe my save, and I will be very sad because I worked really hard to get to that point. But so if I'm able to boot it up
again,
well, and I wouldn't mind doing that, I guess it would just be kind of a bummer. Well, let me see how many hours I put into that actually, because it doesn't feel like I've played for a super long time. Okay, 7 hours. That's still a substantial amount of time.
That's a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd hate to lose 7 hours. It looks like it is actually up to date, my cloud status now. So I think that fixed itself. So no problem there. So literally all I need to do is like log back in and then just queue up the ending. And then I will have like beaten the game. Although again, like any roguelike, there's still going to be so much more that I can do to extend the gameplay of it. But as far as like the base game goes, like I've beaten it essentially.
Heck yeah, man. I really like that upgrade system that you were talking about too, with the match 3 kind of thing. And especially what's cool too is like when you get the 3, then that becomes like a permanent stat for you. And then it's like you can swap out the, whatever's left there, which those of us that haven't, or those listening that haven't seen it and don't know what we're talking about, this probably doesn't make sense. But like you get almost like a 3x3 grid. And then you can get these different, like die sides that have different colors and stuff on it. The first one you get, you always, I think, have to put it in the middle. Yep. And then it's like different colors provide like different bonuses and stuff. And there's also like icons and things on them too, so that they'll give you different passives and stuff. So it's like if you can manage to match 3 colors diagonally or up and down or whatever, then the colors, those 3 colors will disappear from that grid. And that stat will permanently become part of your character for that run. And then you can like find, a new die thing and replace in there and, start over and start building another one. And I just think that's a really cool system and just was really creative. I had not really seen something like that before.
Yeah. There's also, you can get it up to a match 5 because it's a 3x3 grid.
I didn't even think about that.
But then there's like the little 1 square additionally on each side. And so what I did was I put like 2 reds at the very top and like the one under it. Then I put like 2 reds down there. And then the one in the middle was gray because I had used it already. But then I got one of those things that it's like a paint color where it just paints whatever
it can be anything.
tile, the color you want. And then it did like a match 5. And so it upgraded my red skill by a ton. Like normally it upgrades it to 50%, like extra 50%. And this one was like 150%, just like right off the bat. And I was like, oh, that's super
so
nice.
Cool. What a cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot you can play with in that.
Such a cool mechanic. And it was like, and that's just like a small mechanic that's part of like the larger game and stuff too, but makes, all the difference. And it felt really fluid too. The combat feels good.
Oh yeah, combat feels great, fully voice acted, and the interactions are really fun. Fortune, the dice, like his voice or her voice is just like, little squeaks and squawks or whatever.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, but it's very epic for a small game. It does feel very large.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Final round!
Let's talk about some upcoming indie games we're excited about. This is a game that already released on the 7th, but it is one that I had just found out about and I want to play. This is called Seasonala Cemetery. This is like this super gorgeous looking walking sim and exploration game made by a bunch of developers that included a few folks from Laundry Bear Games who made a Mortician's Tale, which was a game that I really, really enjoyed and played it. I think there's a video of it on our YouTube somewhere. Played it a couple years ago. So I'm really looking forward to playing this one soon. And this is definitely not one for you, buddy. So I'm telling you now, don't worry about it. But
I looked at it. Yeah.
But it's like so like Mortician's Tale, the other game that I was kind of relating to this was just a very sentimental, somewhat calm, but like it was a game about sort of like normalizing death and really showing you like what a mortician does and stuff, but like, showing it in like a positive way and developing that more positive relationship with death and it doesn't have to be so scary and all those things and made it a little bit more pleasant and like, as gothic as that kind of sounds. So with some of the same developers having created this one, I'm very, very excited to check that out. So, I've already got it. It was a free game. It's added to the library. Just need to play it. The other one I want to bring up is one that I definitely wanted to get on Joseph's radar, which is called Noobs Are Coming. This is supposed to be coming out July 8th, which is a bullet heaven, but from the perspective that you are the boss of the dungeon and being invaded by heroes. So you're playing as these like super monstrous creatures, like defending your dungeon from all the heroes and stuff coming in. But the artwork is like that spooky, cute sticker design sort of thing that you and I just love when we see games done in that way. So I'm really excited to see how this one plays. So I just thought this would be a really fun one to try out.
I like games, both video and board games, that play with the idea of you playing as the antagonist against the protagonist. That reminds me of the game Boss Monster, the board game.
Yes.
And how much fun I have with that. So this one is one, just from the looks of it, that I will definitely enjoy. I'll be checking this one out 100%. Comes out July 8th, you said?
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. I'm in.
Solo developer too, I believe, that created this.
Overboy. Okay, cool.
Yeah, very cool. It also reminded me of, and I don't have the name of it right now. I wish I did. And I don't believe it's on Steam, but there's a game that's on itch.io. And I know it's like a pixel art game. But I think the idea of it is that you're almost like an Elden Ring sort of boss figure or something. And you are taking on the heroes that keep coming after you, essentially. And I think it's a short game or something like that. But I remember it had gotten a lot of buzz online and everything, and had gotten a lot of reviews. If I can find the name again at some point, I will let you know.
The game that I wanted to bring up is one that is very, very like small as far as Steam reviews go anyway, it has 5 reviews. It came out on June 19th. This is Vessels of Decay. And this is sort of a like pixelated, I don't know if it's Souls-like combat. Maybe you could say Souls-like, but it's like a hack and slash, like pixelated, like 3/4 view thing. To me, it looks great. I don't know, like, I guess it just hasn't gotten much press to it. It's a solo dev, Simon Jacobson, like literally, unless that's the developer company's name, which I doubt, then it's a solo dev. And I don't know, like I haven't tried it. It does have a demo available that I want to try out, but this is one I just wanted to bring to attention because it looks really nice and it has like very few reviews. So it might be worth checking out. And yeah, just wanted to bring that up because I'll be checking it out and I'll report back if it's any good.
Heck yeah, man. A lot of these games that we're like looking forward to, they typically end up becoming future, main topics on the episodes. So yeah, we'll see.
That's what happened with Soulstone Survivors, which was not even one that was even on my radar and just completely surprised me.
No, you were just kind of like, yeah, I saw this thing. I might check it out and we'll see. And then it's like, okay, we're obsessed with this game. Help me.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this is my new personality. I got to get back into this.
Yeah. So the game I was thinking about is called The Dark Queen of Mortholme. It is like just a short 20-minute game on itch.io. So is basically where you are the Dark Queen, the most powerful being of your entire universe. Your lair is breached by an aspiring hero. Pitiful thing, easily crushed, except they keep coming back. So yeah, I think, I don't know that it's going to be like a straight up, totally about just, combat and everything. I think there's definitely some like meta conversation and stuff to be had within the game. Like the game actually, obviously has something to say, but it has so many good reviews. And I remember it having a ton of info about it, like on social media and stuff when it first came out. So it's one that I kept wanting to check out and I never got around to it. So maybe I'll do that soon.
Sweet.
Game over.
If you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper to learn about how you can support the show and all the things we do here at Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree, which will take you to our social media, Discord, subreddit, merch store, and all the other cool things. Get in touch with us, though. Let us know what indie games you're playing and help us elevate these games so we can help support indie developers. But that's game over for us. My name's Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And I actually got through it this time. We'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Sloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.